In America's gilded shadows, few figures loom as darkly as Jeffrey Epstein, a man whose wealth, power, and depravity dance together in ways most can hardly fathom. Jeffrey Epstein entered the world in 1953, born into a modest, working-class family in the bustling borough of Brooklyn, New York. His early years were largely unremarkable, spent attending public schools, yet even then there were glimpses of an unusual, calculating intellect. A pivotal yet puzzling chapter saw him briefly teaching mathematics and physics at the prestigious Dalton School, an elite preparatory institution catering to the city's wealthiest families. This unexpected trajectory, from public education to an exclusive academic setting, hinted at an ambition that would soon propel him into the high-stakes, cutthroat world of finance. It was there, at Bear Stearns, during the vibrant 1970s and 80s, that he began to forge his controversial path, quickly ascending before eventually departing under a veil of ambiguity that would become a chilling hallmark of his career. He founded J. Epstein & Co., claiming to manage fortunes for the ultra-rich, though the only publicly acknowledged client was Leslie Wexner of L Brands. Epstein's true source of wealth remains opaque, a labyrinth of offshore entities. Private banking and tax haven structures played critical roles in its concealment. From humble Brooklyn beginnings to a world where presidents, princes, and billionaires nodded at his name. How did he do it? Jeffrey Epstein wasn't exposed once. He was exposed and protected. Again and again. By the early 2000s, complaints had already begun surfacing. Teenage girls, recruited, paid, silenced. The pattern was consistent. Young, vulnerable, and trafficked through a system designed to erase them. This trafficking process involved systematic grooming, where victims' boundaries were gradually eroded, leading to a normalization of their exploitation. This was followed by psychological and physical control mechanisms, ensuring their silence and eventually, if necessary, their replacement with new victims. In 2008, Epstein struck one of the most controversial plea deals in modern legal history. Despite dozens of accusers, he served 13 months, with work release, 6 days a week. This plea deal was notably abnormal because it bypassed federal charges, allowing Epstein to avoid more severe penalties. Crucially, the victims were not informed of the agreement, denying them their rights and voice. Prosecutors involved were later heavily criticized for their handling of the case, highlighting a profound systemic failure. This wasn't a man acting alone. This was a machine. Recruiters, drivers, accountants, lawyers, a structure that allowed abuse to continue, quietly. And while the world was told justice had been served, Epstein was already preparing his next hunting ground. Isolation doesn't just hide crimes, it changes behavior. On a small island, accountability dissolves, and power becomes absolute. Little St. James sat in a perfect gray zone, U.S. territory, but far from the mainland. Federal law applied, but enforcement was distant, slow, and fragmented. Epstein didn't inherit this place. He bought it, then reshaped it, not as a resort, but as a controlled environment. Survivors later described how the island's layout itself became a tool. Separation, confusion, and dependency. The structure that drew the most attention was the domed building, often referred to simply as the temple. Its true purpose remains unclear. What is clear is that it was restricted. After Epstein's arrest, federal agents descended on the island. Hard drives, photographs, records that may never be fully released. Some places keep their secrets, even after the people are gone. But the island wasn't unique. It was a prototype.